Hello, class. I'm Lacey Richards.
I'm Sarah Wilkerson.
Bonnie Williams.
Nathan Gilmore.
And we are presenting an article on adolescent relational development. So here we go.
Okay, the title of the article is Towards Secure Attachment in Adolescent Relational Development, Advancements from Sand Play and Expressive Play-Based Interventions. So I just quickly want to relate what the article talked about with adolescents and play therapy and expressive play to some theories. First, we're going to relate it to Erikson's theory. The adolescent stage is identity versus role confusion, and what happens is the sand play and the expressive play really helps identity formation for adolescents. It helps them express who they are and really find out who they are, who they want to be, who they can look at other people and see, hey, who do they want them to be, who do you want them to be, and by sorting all this out, they can really begin to form their own identity. They can also explore the peer influence and what power their peers have over them by doing this expressive play. Bronfenbrenner's, what the expressive play and sand play does for them is it gives them a greater awareness of exo and macro systems, expanding micro and mesosystems, and the adolescent's impact on systems theory. When adolescents begin to realize the impact that they have, when they realize how far reaching their what they do and what they say and how they interact and how they behave, when they begin to realize the impact that it has, they can begin to make some changes that will be profitable for both them and their friends or society, and begin to really heal them. So some of the things that we look at in the article is attachment. Secure and positive attachment is success. We look at expressive art therapy. This is the identity formation. This is where they're able to form themselves. And then the sand tray is the exploration of outcomes. It's where they can really play with what outcomes would happen if they were to create their own scenario. Pass it on to Liz.
Okay, so now we're just going to talk a little bit explaining about our article and what the article was about. And the main point of it was just the attachment in adolescence. So the first point was that attachment relationships change during adolescence and often adversely affect psychological functioning. This was just making the point that the relationships don't stay stagnant. They're always changing, and especially in adolescence, which is such a pivotal point in somebody's life. Early on, adolescents experience internal working models that show they are worthy of love or they are unlovable and the world is untrustworthy. So they'll go through a point where they'll either have secure attachments or insecure attachments with adults, and specifically their parents. And a secure attachment would show them that they're worthy of love, and an insecure attachment would show them that they are unlovable and the world can't be trusted. Adolescents confide more in peers, especially when they have insecure attachments with caregivers. So if an adolescent wasn't getting along well with their parents, they would be more apt to confide in their peers. That's where they would seek that attachment. And as we all know, this can be detrimental in the adolescent time period because all the other adolescents are also figuring themselves out and getting themselves into trouble, which can be a bad place to try to attach. That's why the attachment with the parents is so vital. And the article said attachment is thought to play a role in the development and maintenance of internalizing symptoms such as anxiety and depression. So it's shown through research that the better and more positive attachment style you have, the less likely adolescents are going to have symptoms like anxiety and depression. Another quote from the article, furthermore, rates of externalizing behaviors increase drastically during adolescence and can include experimentation with drugs and alcohol, self-injurious behavior, and conflict in relationships. Some of the attachment literature has demonstrated that adolescents partake in high-risk behaviors and non-suicidal self-injurious behaviors in an effort to engage the parent in caregiving behaviors. So this is kind of just emphasizing what I was saying before. The adolescents are going to look for ways to find that care and attachment, and so if they're not getting it from the parents, they are going to look to outside resources or people, and this often leads to drugs and alcohol and other serious things in the hopes that they'll be noticed more. So if they're participating in these things, they're hoping, even though they wouldn't admit, that their parent would notice and give them some of that care that they're seeking. So the article then went into talking about play therapy approaches that could help promote this secure attachment, especially with the caregivers. So early in treatment, it's critically important that play therapists demonstrate their dependability through empathetic attunement. So it's just vital that the play therapist is making it obvious that they are in tune with what the adolescent's saying. So they're listening very carefully and repeating back what the adolescent said to show that they are a secure base for the adolescent, that they do have that secure attachment with the adolescent, because they're not going to confide in them if they don't feel that secure attachment. From the beginning of a relationship, play therapists offer insecurely attached clients an opportunity to openly work through difficult feelings of disillusionment and abandonment through consistency and dependability of the therapist and therapeutic framework. So again, to emphasize the point, consistency and dependability are so key. The adolescent has to see that the therapist is always going to be there, that they can depend on them, that they're constantly going to show up, be on their side, supporting them, and just knowing that they're a consistent figure in their life because they might not have that secure attachment elsewhere. The therapist also builds relationship with the adolescent before working with the family. So the adolescent and the therapist would work closely together before bringing in the family, just so they do have that attachment before others are involved and can bring in their opinions. Just to continue on, children and adolescents respond positively to play therapists who actively and non-judgmentally listen to them and provide supportive and creative ways to help them understand themselves, including play therapy interventions like sand play that may promote secure attachment. So the research just went on in further detail about how play therapy can promote that attachment, and as we've learned just in general, getting on an adolescence level and just playing with them can naturally promote that attachment. Also, sand play can be used for the adolescent to draw sands in the scene of ways that they feel they have secure attachment and ways that they don't. So there's just a lot of different interventions you could take with play therapy. The most current attachment research has demonstrated that a relationship with a securely attached significant adult can enable an adolescent to become more securely attached and to view their world once again as more stable, secure, and safe. So as the adolescent and the caregiver move towards a more secure attachment again, they are going to feel more safe and secure, and then hopefully bringing them a way of trying to attach with their peers and find stable attachments. That way it'll transfer back to the parents once they see that they can have that positive attachment with them.
Next, we're going to talk about some possible interventions that the article described. The first one is the relational domain of the heartfelt colorings card strategy. This is something you can get online, or most place therapy centers have it on hand. What I've done today is just printed out a simple heart shape. What adolescents do is they identify attachment figures by drawing them inside the heart shape. The relationship or relational domain focuses specifically on the adolescent's primary attachments, highlighting and honoring satisfying attachments while identifying and exploring unfulfilling relationships. So some examples of the relational domain would be: draw in the heart someone who will be in your heart forever, draw in the heart someone whom you would want to be there if you were sick, and draw in the heart someone that you could trust with a secret. This can also be modified to work in a sand tray. The adolescent chooses a figure to represent different people in their lives, and they place them in or outside of a heart drawn in the sand. Another variation of this technique involves Garbarino's concept of the circle of caring, which asks adolescents to draw or write names of the people they consider inside their circle of caring, those people who care about the teen, and to draw outside the circle those who have disappointed them and no longer reside inside their circle of caring. A final variation involves drawing a bullseye and asking the adolescent to write the names of those closest to them in the smallest centermost circle. The adolescent then works outward, considering the level of connection felt with those people in his or her life. When the adolescents are encouraged to express the positive and negative polarities inherent within their conflictual relationships, it often has the effect of strengthening attachment by challenging effective ambivalence. So basically it's saying that it's acceptable to feel shame and pride simultaneously toward someone who is important, as people are dynamic. And this intervention seems to model Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems model of attachment and influence. The impact of these interventions is that through sand worlds and other creative expressions, adolescents come to understand A, that their feelings have value, B, they are being supported by caring adults who do not judge them, and C, attention to their inner emotional landscape is a vital key to their ongoing psychological development. Through the unique unconditional acceptance in the play therapy relationship, some adolescents come to realize that they may thrive with the support of caring adults who help them overcome obstacles, solve problems, take responsibility, and make meaningful contributions to their schools and home communities.
All right, now this is the talking points aspect of our presentation. This was designed to be done in class with engagement back and forth, so just place your comments regarding the questions that we're asking. But after reviewing the study, attachment issues in adolescents can have huge consequences. Therapists use play therapy as a way to help address these issues. When looking at this study from a holistic perspective, we also try to focus on ways we could help address these issues from a community level. It can mean trying to implement community interventions of our own, or partnering with nonprofit organizations that have experience in this area. We would also look not only to address the issue with the adolescent, but with the parents too. And these are some of the questions that we came up with here. First one is, why do you think that the basic attachment concept is less frequently carried over into adolescence? Second is a quote from the actual article, is parents who only respond to their teens in times of crisis or as a result of dangerous behavior put their teens in a situation in which they must aggressively force their parents to meet their needs. So the question is, in what stages of Erikson's theory of psychosocial development could this have been a learned behavior? The next question is, what are some risks of using play therapy with adolescents with attachment issues? Fourth question, in what ways can we help influence the adolescent's exosystems in a way that could have a positive effect with attachment? And we're looking for a response in terms of marriage and family therapy and school counselors, how you would go about doing it. And last is, besides sand play, what are some other forms of play therapy that could be used that would be applicable to adolescents? And that's our presentation.